What is going on, everyone? Baseball is about to be upon us today. I am thrilled to be doing another one of these Turning Two podcast episodes. Jason, how hyped are you for baseball?
I am pumped, very excited. It's just good to see the Yankees just on the field every day. And for those of you that are new, I'm Jason from 161. It says hello from Backstage Baseball. Welcome to episode 2 of the Turning 2 podcast. Okay. We're very excited to bring this to you. It's going to be, we had a good time last year. We're going to have a great time this year. And we're really looking forward to putting out some consistent, great content for you. So welcome, everybody. Welcome back, everybody who's been here with us last year as well. But today we're going to have some fun. What do you think, hello?
Oh, yeah, we are really looking forward. A blast we're about to have. If you guys are new to the Turning Two podcast channel, do be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trying to get it up there for opening day so we can constantly give you guys episodes. Let's start off by talking about, let's grade the Yankees offseason. What did you think how the Yankees did this offseason? What grade would you give them? We've seen a lot of people who've been negative. To be honest, they had a really good offseason, in my opinion. What were your thoughts?
You know, it's interesting. So I have two different thoughts. Number one, if I had to give them a letter grade, it would be like a B or a B minus. And the reason why I say that is because they haven't addressed the left field situation just yet. I do think they will. How? I have no idea. We talked about this a lot, but I don't think B or B minus is a bad grade at all because, like you said, they brought back Aaron Judge. That was priority number one. They brought in Carlos Rodon. Okay, they got another ace pitcher to add to the fold. They signed Tommy Kahnle as well. They brought back Anthony Rizzo. So addressed main pieces, which they needed to do. Now, does it mean they're ready for Houston Astros yet? Not just yet, but as we know, and we always know, the Yankees are never done making moves. So Cashman always has something up his sleeve. So whether that happens now, whether it happens later, I'm confident something's going to happen. If I had to give him a grade right now, if it's not a letter grade, it's going to be a B or a B minus. Otherwise, it would be incomplete. And then my incomplete will change to the official letter grade once they address the left field position, which I am confident that they're going to do. What about you?
Yeah, so we starting off early, a little friction here. I have to go A minus. I'm thinking, I really like, you look back at the beginning of the offseason, before Judge is re-signed, before we bring in Rodon, and you tell me Judge is coming back. 9 years, very solid contract. You're getting Rizzo back. You're getting Kahnle back. On top of all of
Uh-huh.
that, you're bringing in Carlos Rodon. That all circulates together and brings a really solid offseason. Without even thinking, I'm giving that a really solid grade. Now, coming into factor, we're going to be seeing Oswaldo Cabrera get a full season. We're going to be seeing Michael King healthy. That's a bonus. Hopefully, we'll be seeing a really good season out of Luis Severino. Obviously, the injury to Frankie Montas isn't exciting. We'll get to injuries a little later. But I'm excited to see what Clark Schmidt can do in that fifth spot. Hopefully, I'm really excited for that part in specific. And the young guys, Oswald Peraza, Anthony Volpe, I'm telling you, I really like this offseason. Not just because what we brought in, but what because we brought back and what we're gonna see from the young guys.
And a healthy full year of DJ, a healthy full year of
Yes.
Harrison Bader. I feel a heck of a lot better about this team than I did last year. So a lot of things, and you mentioned Michael King, an absolutely critical part of this bullpen because when he was great, Clay Holmes was great. When he went down, Clay Holmes was not the same. So he's going to complement the rest of this bullpen extremely well. Tommy Kahnle, they're bringing in this gamer personality. He's got a lot of Nick Swisher in him, so he's going to keep the team loose. But he's also an absolute competitor on the mound. So I like what they've done. I like what they've done. I
All right,
really do.
shifting gears here, Manny Machado coming in. We're already thinking about next offseason. That's how our brains move. We already are thinking about the star in the market next offseason. That's Manny Machado. I've been thinking a lot about this one ever since you sent me this. I really am drawn between a bunch of sides here. Obviously, the Mets are going to be key players in this. We know, as always, the Padres will be key players in this. But something I'm going to throw out there. I think the Padres are going to really be in the market for Shohei Ohtani. And here's the hot take I'm going to throw out. I think that they get so distracted in the market for Shohei Ohtani that by the time they lose out on Ohtani, I think it's going to happen. Machado's already going to be gone, and they're going to be in that middle zone of what do we do now?
Yep.
Because they're spending all their focus on Ohtani. This is what I'm seeing. They're going to spend all their focus on Ohtani, and they're going to make the mistake. They're going to forget about Machado, and then the second they look back, where did he go? And he's gone just like that.
Gone. And if I could turn that into a positive in any way, it would make it easy for them to extend Juan Soto to a huge deal. And they would absolutely have to do that if they lost Machado and not they're going to have to give Soto a historic deal. And again, he's only going to be 26 when he's a free agent. Machado is going to be 31. That's a huge difference. So, and he's asking for 10 years, $400 million right now. And again, if I were the Yankees or any of the team for that matter, but particularly the Yankees who have an opening of kind of officially next year after Josh Donaldson, because I don't think Donaldson's going to be back. But is it worthwhile giving a guy a 10-year deal, all of which the years are going to be on the wrong side of 30? I worry about the Aaron Judge deal. As much as I love the deal, I worry about that because starting at 31, if Machado was 26 or something like that, like he was when he signed his first contract, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But I would be wary of that as well. So, and I think whoever signs him, and he's on a Hall of Fame track, no doubt about it, right? But at some point is going to deteriorate and potentially deteriorate relatively quickly. So whoever pays that money is going to have to be very aware of that. And Ohtani's going to be 28, I think, or 27 or 28 when he's a free agent. So that's a couple years younger than Machado. And he's going to be, and I think any team that doesn't get Ohtani is going to go hard after Machado as a very legitimate consolation prize. But we're hearing a lot about the Mets getting both. Are you hearing that too?
Oh my goodness, if that happens.
Yeah.
But just talking to some people is interesting topics being brought up. It will tie perfectly into our next topic of the injury bug. But I want to bring up the topic of hopefully when Stanton's contract is up, that's the time where Judge starts to enter the decline. Hopefully it's not before that, so we don't have two bad contracts on us. I'm hoping that what we have left of Stanton, we get some solid. We know what we're going to get out of him. If we play from each side, it's going to be hot and cold. We know he's going to be hurt, all that stuff. But I'm hoping that by the time Judge hits his decline, Stanton's contract is already up. That's something I'm looking at.
Stanton's got 5 years left, and I think an option for a sixth, which I think is a player option. My thing with Stanton too is that you're right, he gets hurt, but his power numbers are undeniable, right? His power is undeniable. Yeah. He is almost at 400 home runs. I would love to see him hit number 500 with the Yankees. That would be really cool. Just like I would love to see Judge at number 500 with the Yankees. It would be awesome for both of them. But you're right too. Like 5 years from now, we'll be 5 out of 9 years into Judge's deal. He'll be 36. So Stanton will be 37. I think he's a year older than Judge. So, but you're right. I mean, maintaining, and obviously I think he's going to be predominantly a DH at that point. We're hearing that he's going to play some outfield because he plays better a little bit when he's in the outfield. But you're right. I mean, we're going to have a couple of years of these guys. I mean, at least 5 years of their contracts together, which would be a lot of money. But if we can get the production from them that we hope, man, I'm not going to complain at all about that.
Yeah, one of the funniest topics that we've seen all over Twitter is the bit that Ben Rortvedt doesn't actually exist. That's something that I've enjoyed just reading about. I don't know. Does he exist? Like,
we haven't even seen the guy play. We're like, I'm getting pictures of Hercules and stuff like that because he looks like Hercules. But he had surgery yesterday, and to repeat, so he had for those that haven't heard, surgery on his shoulder. He had a circulation problem, which was going down to his fingers, which created the finger problem that he was going through recently. Saw a specialist. They recommended surgery. He had surgery the same day Frankie Montas had yesterday as well. The good thing about Montas surgery is that they went into the labor. It was supposed to be exploratory, right? So they were looking, we might operate on this and operate on that. They only had to operate the labor, and they did not have to touch the rotator cuff. And had they had to touch the rotator cuff, it would have been like an extra 6 months of recovery. So there's a chance that they could get Montes back towards the end of the year. I'm not banking on it, but even if he doesn't, I'm happy with Rodon as a replacement. So I can't complain there. They definitely upgraded in the rotation, but that's what we know right now about the injury bug. But yeah, Rortvedt, man, I don't know what his voice sounds like. I don't know anything from Ben Rortvedt. So
yeah. Well, by the way, if we had to give out like names for Yankees and baseball content creators, you would definitely be like the Yankees doctor because like you like understand all this stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
But
it's a benefit of 2 decades as a musculoskeletal therapist. So I'm familiar with a lot of these injuries. I've had some of them myself. I've torn my hamstring. So and there's a bunch of things as well. But knowing or understanding, being able to talk about it definitely helps. Because some of these injuries are so confusing. It's like, what? Because we hear like, how would a guy have a calf injury and be out for 4 months? It's not normal because unless you tear it, but there is the ability, but it's a different sport. You're using different muscles and stuff like that. So how these guys train and prepare and recover is different than other sports as well. Whereas football is a straight contact sport, it's different, right? So basketball is different, soccer is different, but this is a different sport as well. But it definitely helps understanding. So thanks, man.
Yeah. Do we think the Yankees have any moves left coming in, about to start spring training? Do we think they're going to pull anything out of the pocket?
Personally, I think by the end of the season, they're probably going to wind up moving. Well, by the end of this, excuse me, before the season starts, by the end of the preseason, I think they're either going to move Torres or IKF or potentially both of them, so that if they want to make a move later at the deadline, they can. Because right now they're right at the Steve Cohen line, and they don't want to exceed it, obviously. So, and that's the only way they're going to financially be able to afford it. So it might allow him to make a trade for an outfielder, which I still, in the back of my mind, I'm hoping for Brian Reynolds, as you know. Um, I think they're going to do something. I just don't know when. And because Cashman's always kind of lurking in the weeds and stuff like that. And keep in mind, guys and gals, when spring training's here, guys get cut. They have to pare down the roster, so they're always cutting guys, moving guys, and stuff like that. So there's going to be a non-stop kind of movement pattern of guys throughout teams. So the Yankees will acquire some players, they'll cut some players, they'll trade some players. So it's going to be that way for the next couple of weeks until the season starts. But I expect them to do something. What about you?
Yeah, I don't really know what's gonna be with the Yankees right now, being that it's getting into February. It's gonna be, if it's gonna be a move, it's gonna be something that nobody sees coming. I'm gonna stress that so much because that's Brian Cashman. He
Yeah.
pulls a move out of left field, no pun intended there, but it's gonna
Uh,
come out of whether it is left field or it's coming out of left field. There's gonna be a move that we don't know what it's gonna be, whether that's a trade. Look, we saw it with that Gary Sanchez, Gio Urshela trade. We had no clue that was coming. You ask
Playing
any
home.
Yankee fan, what in the world? Where did that come from? But
Yeah.
like coming into our next topic here, it's gonna like factor into some AL East predictions here because the AL East is all over the place. We know that there's here with the Yankees and here with the Orioles and the Red Sox are in who knowsville. But what are your predictions 1 through 5 for the American League East?
Well, let me ask you this before I do that. So we've gotten some of the projections, over under projections. The Yankees are projected to win about 98 games. Do you go over or under on that?
Over 100%. I'm
Think so?
seeking. I think 101 win season is where I'm sitting right now.
All right. I'm sitting around 98, 99 games, which is not far. And they won 99 last year. I think they're going to be close again. But I think it's going to be closer this year. So if I'm going second place, I'm going the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are going to get the wild card. Okay. Then I'm going to go Tampa. Then I'm going to go Boston. And then I'm going to go Baltimore. Boston, I can't see them being in last place 2 years in a row. I think Baltimore will probably win them a couple. There's actually a chance that every team could be a 500 team in the American League East, and you
Yeah.
could still be last place and still be a 500 team. It doesn't happen very often, but there is a good chance because the Orioles were pretty good last year. They just need to win a few more games, and they'll be right up there, and it could still be last place. So Boston's made a bunch of moves. Yoshida, they brought in Kenley Jensen, they revamped their whole entire bullpen. Tampa hasn't done much, so if any team's going to drop, it probably will be Tampa, in my opinion, if it happens. Toronto's made a lot of moves. They traded for Dalton Varsho. They also moved in their fences, so it's going to benefit power guys. So, but I still think the Yankees are going to win the division by maybe like 2 games. I think it's going to be pretty close. What's your thoughts? What's your 1 through 5?
Yeah, I'm gonna have the Yankees up there with 101 wins. I have the Blue Jays right behind them, like
Yeah,
legitimately right behind them. Like it's gonna come down to the last series right behind them type of thing. And it's not gonna be because either team's playing bad. It's gonna be because both teams are playing great. And
right.
right behind the Blue Jays, I have actually the Orioles coming in and making a wild card spot.
Whoa, all right.
I I really am a big fan of the Orioles coming in as a silent team. I actually was just on with Jim from Ballcap Sports. He made some interesting points that the Orioles don't have such a good ownership. And that's something that I 100% agree on, but they do have some talent there that
Yep.
they're going to
Wow.
use, and they have a very solid manager. So I'm going to put the Orioles in third place, having a wild card spot, followed by the Rays to the Red Sox. And their teams like there, the Rays definitely can pull something out of their back pocket. We know they can do that. The
Mhm.
question is, they're a team that you can't predict. So I have to go with the team that's more predictable with the Orioles up there. And then the Red Sox are a team, they're playing the Moneyball game. Once again, they could do it, but it's unlikely. So the Red Sox, I see being in 3 or 4 years a really solid baseball team. But
So
right now, that's how I line up. But anything else you want to say before we wrap up this episode on Turn 2?
I think so. You make a good point, and I think it's important for people to remember about the Orioles. Like, you know, they've had a bunch of good years of good drafting, right? And that's how teams can go from. That's just what happened with Tampa. They were last place for like 10 years in a row. And then they had high draft picks. They nailed the draft picks, and all of a sudden they're a top flight team now. They develop guys much better. And when a team is in last that many years in a row, like the Orioles were, they make several good draft picks, and all of a sudden they have a really good nucleus of young players, which is exactly where they're at now. So I expect them to continue to get better as well. And it's, and this is the difference between the Yankees, because the Yankees always draft at the bottom of the round every single year in the draft. Those guys draft at the top. So, but player development is important, which is one reason why they brought in Brian Sabian and Omar Minaya, because they want to draft better, they want to develop better. So I expect the Yankees to be significantly better over the next couple of years in that department too. But the AL East, you know what it reminds me of for those that are football fans? The SEC football conference, where you have Alabama versus Georgia, you have Florida versus teams like that, because every game in that conference is like the playoffs. So anytime the Yankees play another team in the American League East, it's like the playoffs, and they're just beating each other up, and it's a high intensity game. And that's where the AL East is different than in the other divisions in baseball. So I can't get enough of it. I can't wait for the season to start so we can enjoy some more of that and talk more about it, because we're going to be here every week, gang, talking about this stuff.
Yeah, so excited. If you guys are not subscribed, do be sure to do it. Yeah, definitely. Really looking forward to bringing you some unreal content this coming season. Baseball is right around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 15 of the Turning 2 podcast, season 2, episode 2. I'm your host, Hillel, joined by host Mr. Jason Surge. This has been episode 15, and we are out.